Hey everyone, Connie Royal here, and today, as you can see from the title, we are talking about change the channel. If you haven't heard, this is a hashtag going around on social media referring to Channel Awesome, a YouTube channel and media property that is famous for the likes of Nostalgia Critic and various others throughout the 10 years or so it's been going. So, yeah, you may know, you've probably heard by now if you frequent social media, but there is a 70 plus page report that apparently, I guess, is like still ongoing, like more pages and information's being added to it, accusing Channel Awesome and multiple people within it of some horrible background practices and actions against former contributors to the website and media group. Um, they ranged from like accusations of like I believe there was actually accusations of sexual deviancy. There was stuff of like not being compensated with like food and water during shooting of a movie special in the desert, and various other things here and there. And Channel Awesome responded with a short response, basically, very briefly and not all that well, just trying to debunk all of the accusations against them. Now, I'm going to say right off the bat, and this may upset some of you, but hear me out. I will not stop watching Channel Awesome's content. Specifically, content put out by Nostalgia Critic, Tamara Chambers, and Walter Kolchak. I think I got his last name right. Just, I've watched their stuff for years, and if I'm being honest, I enjoy it. And I'm just because I find the actions, the accused actions of them, deplorable and wrong, doesn't mean I'm going to stop watching the content. I do not believe that acting in a petty way such as that, by like refusing to watch the content or refusing to give them business or whatnot, is a valid way to protest them, especially if you are a legitimate fan of their work. And most of these accusations seem to be against Mike Michaud and other like more behind the scenes producers and whatnot on the crew of Channel Awesome. Most of them are not against the people like Doug and Rob Walker. I don't think any of them are against Tamara Chambers or Walter Kolchak or any of those guys. I think it mostly centers around the producers and whatnot. There were a couple things I believe about Doug and Rob, but it was minor in comparison. That's not to say it wasn't bad in any way, but minor in comparison, and there was just very little of it from what I saw. But the point here is that I think the proper way of protesting is to speak out against it, speak out against these actions that they've taken, and try to get the information out there instead of just general boycotting. General boycotting is stupid because here's the thing: if you boycotted every company, every actor, every just anything in the world that did something you don't agree with, you wouldn't be able to do anything. You wouldn't be able to watch anything. You wouldn't be able to use any products because, believe it or not, there's no such thing as a perfect person. No one is flawless. No one is able to do everything in the way that everyone wants. We as a species, we as humans, are drastically different from each other. Even the closest of us, the ones who can relate the most to each other, we're still very different. There are still things that I may like that someone close to me may not, and vice versa. And there are things about me that even someone very similar to myself might not consider true. We are so vastly different, and as such, we have different likes and dislikes, and we have to acknowledge that. We have to acknowledge that in order to better ourselves and in order to move forward. You're never going to please everyone, and everybody out there has done wrong. Every single person in existence has done bad things. There's no such thing as a perfect person. Even the nicest seeming person out there, the people who seem like they're just the epitome of sainthood, have done bad things. Because we as humans are a just terrible, terrible species. So you have to look into that. And that's not excusing anyone's actions, mind you. I'm not saying this to excuse the actions of the people at Channel Awesome or anyone else who has done bad things. I'm just saying it's kind of hypocritical in a way to boycott someone and then excuse someone else just because the person you're boycotting, you see their crimes as worse. And even if those crimes are worse, that's, if you're going to boycott like someone, you'd have to boycott everyone. Because again, if you're going to boycott someone just because they do something you don't like, do something you don't believe in, or do some horrible things, you'd have to boycott everyone. You'd have to boycott, again, every single product ever made, every single show, every single movie, every single song. It's stupid, and it's petty. I mean, here's a big example. I know there's a lot of people who are boycotting the Wizarding World series, specifically the upcoming Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald movie that is coming this fall, because the staff of the movie and J.K. Rowling herself decided to keep Johnny Depp on as Grindelwald. And because of what had come to light about Johnny Depp and his actions against his wife, people thought that he should be taken off. And I don't agree. I think that while his actions against his wife were terrible and that he should definitely be reprimanded for them, he is an integral part of the first Fantastic Beasts movie, despite his very minor appearance in the actual film's running time. And to change the actor who plays the character would feel off. It would feel like it was fake in a way. Similar to, they changed the actor who played Dumbledore in the original Harry Potter series, and it really just changed the entire dynamic of the character. And people have pointed that out, that a lot of people were actually upset by that change of actor, because it was the second person to play Dumbledore, I believe Michael Gambon was the second. He was so different, and he portrayed the character in such a different way than Richard Harris did. And people didn't like it initially, or at least not as much as with Richard Harris's Dumbledore. And it would be kind of the same thing here. He wouldn't have the same presence that Johnny Depp has. And again, I am definitely speaking out against what Johnny Depp did, but to boycott a movie that just because he's in it is stupid. It won't change anything. It won't fix the problem. And honestly, it's just, you're boycotting a movie that you'd probably love otherwise. In fact, I watched someone who was talking about it. They said that they were a huge fan of the Wizarding World, that they really even loved the first Fantastic Beasts movie, and that they would be not seeing the second because of this. And they basically even said that they thought it would probably be a great movie, a well-written and just really entertaining movie, but that they will refuse to see it for this reason. And I think that's stupid. Again, you're denying yourself something for not necessarily a bad reason, but in a way that won't actually help the matter. People think that, oh, we're going to boycott this person's content, and that's going to stop them. That's going to take them off the air or whatnot. They tried that with Fine Bros Entertainment, FBE, on YouTube. They're still going and going strong. FBE is still excessively popular and excessively like successful. So it doesn't work like that. Boycotting Kevin Spacey movies, it won't change things. What has changed things with Kevin Spacey, he's probably not going to get any more big roles. You know what changed that? It's not people boycotting his movies. It's not people boycotting House of Cards. It's that people spoke up against it. People spoke out and let their thoughts flow. That is how you protest. You speak out against injustice. Taking action is fine, but it has to be done in a way that makes sense, in a way that is not, that is actually going to do something, that's going to raise awareness, and not just like do nothing but disrupt your ability to take part in something. For example, and this is a controversial topic in and of itself, the kneeling in protest during sports games, most notably football, that was really spearheaded by Colin Kaepernick, or however it's pronounced. Basically, the idea is that many players in football and a couple other sports would kneel during the national anthem to protest police brutality and other such crimes that were happening throughout the U.S. And it's simple and harmless. There's nothing inherently wrong with it. There's nothing illegal with it. There's nothing like super vindictive about it either. It's taking a knee. It's showing what you're standing for, or in this case, not standing for. Literally. It's expressing your feelings on a matter without taking unnecessary and unworking measures. And you know what this did? It got people's attention. A lot of people did not like it, sure. It caused a lot of controversy and problems, but it got people talking. It got people to think about what's going on. And it didn't affect everyone in the same way, but it got that conversation started. That is what you need to do. Boycotting someone's movies is not going to get conversations started. Speaking out against them, talking about what they did wrong, that is going to get conversations started. That is how you boycott someone like Johnny Depp, or any of these people who have been outed as sexual predators, as just terrible people to work with, and etc., etc., as spousal abusers. And with Channel Awesome, it has to be the same way. Boycotting them, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to work. Their view and subscriber counts might go down for a bit. They're going to raise back up. It's not going to hurt them in the long run. It's not going to hurt their channel at all. It didn't hurt Fine Bros Entertainment. Did it? So instead of trying to boycott them, instead of unsubscribing to the channel, do what I'm doing. Do what a lot of other people have done. Speak out. The actions that I have read about are terrible. Like I mentioned, there was one about they were working in the desert or something, or in a very hot area, and there was no food and water provided for their working. That's terrible. Honestly, that should be illegal. If it's not already, I honestly don't know. There were things about some of the female contributors, former female contributors and all, being used in terrible ways. That's horrible. And again, trying to boycott them is not going to help here. You need to talk about how these are horrible. Why is it horrible to not give food and water to your employees and contributors, even if there's no monetary compensation? That's not important. Why is it terrible to not give food and water to your contributors while you're working in a hot desert-like area on this big project? Because it's dangerous. People need food and water to survive. It's just a fact of life. to not give something as simple as that. It doesn't have to be anything amazing. It doesn't have to be a 3-course meal. Just some little hors d'oeuvres, some bottles of water. That would be fine, and honestly not that expensive in the grand scheme of things. That's why that's horrible. Why is it horrible for a lot of these former female contributors to have undergone possible sexual predatory actions by other people in the Channel Awesome staff? Because sexual predatory actions are terrible. Because they are taking away the quote unquote innocence and just bodily autonomy of the people involved. It is basically forced control over someone else's physical aspect, and even to a degree mental and emotional aspects of their body. It's terrible in every conceivable way. That's what we need to be talking about. We don't need to be talking about going against the channel or boycotting the channel. The name of this movement is called #ChangeTheChannel. People are willing to forgive and forget. Well, not necessarily forget, but forgive and help things move along if Channel Awesome works to fix things. If they work to fix things and make things better, that's what we want. We want things to improve. We want this channel that we've come to love, that has inspired so many people to change, to grow, to go past their mistakes. And their response was basically just calling everybody a liar. Calling all their accusers liars and saying that all of their claims were unfounded and untrue. And here's the thing. We don't know for sure. While it's most likely and very possible that the claims are true, we don't have any actual hardcore proof. We don't. And I'm not saying this to stick up for Channel Awesome or their proposed accused actions. No, not at all. I'm just saying we don't have hard evidence to support these claims. But the fact that these claims were made by so many different people and that the stories in them were corroborated by others besides the people who initially brought them forward, we have to look into it. We have to take those claims as a possibility, and we have to look into it. We have to really think about it, and we have to try to figure this out and try to fix it. Because if these claims are all true, which again, it's very likely they are, with this much going up against Channel Awesome, it's very likely they are. We have to take that as enough to look into this, to do something. We have to take action. And to take action, we have to speak out against them, against their actions, against their proposed missteps and mistakes and just horrible things that they've supposedly done. Even if it doesn't end up being true, even if it actually is all false and it is some kind of just smear campaign against them, doesn't matter. We have to take it seriously for the time being until we find out one way or the other. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm going to tell you this with extreme confidence. This is going to blow over. I am completely confident that after maybe a month or two, people are going to forget about this. They're going to move on. They're going to focus on other problems and other channels. Some people might still talk about it. Some people might still refer to everything going on and bring it up here and there. But just like with everything, it's going to fade. The vitriolic hatred for Channel Awesome that is happening on social media right now, it's going to fade away. But the problems won't. These proposed problems that are in this 70-plus page document will not fade away unless we do something about it. So before this topic does fade into obscurity, share Change the Channel on social media. #ChangeTheChannel. Share your thoughts and viewpoints on this. Share other people's thoughts and viewpoints on this, because this needs to get out there. This needs to be discussed. We need to open up that conversation so that we can find out if this is really true, and if it is, what we can do about it. That's not something as petty and just completely unworking, for lack of a better way to put it, as boycotting the channel. Because as I said, it won't work. It won't do anything to stop them, to stop their content, or to stop them from possibly doing this stuff again. What needs to change is we need to take this seriously, and we need to speak out against them. That will make a lot bigger of a difference. That will get them, if they are guilty of all of this, it'll get them nervous. If they constantly see us speaking out against them, they will get nervous and something will be done. Other people who have some level of power will possibly take action. It will change things more so than just simply boycotting. So to wrap this up, because I've been talking for over 20 minutes now, did Channel Awesome do something potentially terrible and unforgivable? Yes and no. The proposed actions leveled against them in this 70-plus page document are terrible, and they should definitely be reprimanded for that. Unforgivable, though? Not at all. Nothing is unforgivable in my eyes. I believe that forgiveness is warranted towards anyone, no matter what their crime, no matter how heinous and terrible. And I'm going to always firmly believe that. Anyone is able to change their ways. I've heard of the most hardened murderers becoming upstanding citizens. I've heard of rapists, people who have raped women and children, becoming amazing, just wonderful people because they were given that chance to change. They were given a second chance. Now, this doesn't happen with everyone, but we need to give that benefit of the doubt still. There is always a shot of forgiveness. And it doesn't last forever. You give them a second chance, maybe even a third chance. But once it gets past that, you do have to really take things into account that something needs to be done. But you should always give them that second and third chance, if possible. If possible. So yeah, Channel Awesome, if all of this stuff is true, did some terrible things. The people behind it, Mike Michaud and the other producers and staff, have done some horrible things. That doesn't mean we should boycott them. We should talk about it instead. We should get this conversation going and keep it going. And an actual conversation about it and how to fix it and how to keep it fixed. Not just, oh, we don't like what they did, so we're going to stop watching their content. That's not going to stop anything. That's not going to fix the problem. If we want to change this, if we want to make sure that no future contributors are sexually harassed, are just not allowed food and water for the hard, not horrifying, but hard, just over the top work that they have to do. If people are not given the proper credit and being completely thrown to the wayside by the staff, we need to speak out against that. And if it keeps happening, we give it another chance. We give it another chance. But after a few chances, we do need to take action against them by any means possible. So, yeah, that's all I'm trying to say with this video. We have to look at this the proper way. We have to really think about this, really give it a chance, really just focus on what's important here. Focus on trying to change the channel. Not drop the channel. Not boycott the channel. Change the channel for the better. And in the meantime, for those who continue to watch the channel's content, that's fine. Watch the content. Because, again, some of us love that content. We've been watching it for like 10 years. The content has inspired us. We can't just ignore that. Just like with actors like Johnny Depp and Kevin Spacey. We can't just ignore that they are great actors who have done amazing, just influential works in the business just because they end up being not so great people. You have to acknowledge what Channel Awesome has done for the online reviewing community. You have to acknowledge that their videos have influenced and possibly even saved lives. You have to acknowledge that. And so, do not hate on anyone who continues to watch their content. Even if you don't want to, even if you believe that you shouldn't watch their content anymore, do not hate or attack anyone who wants to still watch their content. Do not hate or attack anyone who continues to support them through their channel and all of that. Do not hate or attack anyone, even if you believe that you should give them another chance, and if someone else doesn't. Don't attack the people who don't want to give them another chance, who think that they have had all their chances. Because it won't help anyone. It won't do anything positive if we're attacking each other over different beliefs and viewpoints on this. Instead, we need to discuss what to do to change things, as I've been saying throughout this video. We need to discuss how to fix the problem. And the only way to do that is to talk. Not fight. Not even argue. A debate is fine, but in general, just talk. If we do that, our voices can be heard. The greatest revolutions in history have not only happened because of fighting or arguing or whatnot. That's the last resort. The greatest revolutions in history, the greatest changes that have come in America, that have come in the world, happen because someone talks. Someone speaks out. The American Revolution. The revolutionaries spoke out against King George's rule. Women and minorities getting the right to vote began with people speaking out against injustices. That's how it begins. If it leads to fighting, if it leads to something a lot more intense, that should be the last resort. That should be the final straw. The war, the Revolutionary War, it didn't start with actual fighting and bloodshed. That came after everything else did not work. That was the last resort. The civil rights movement didn't begin with people fighting on the streets. It didn't begin with protesters getting gassed and attacked by police and whatnot. It started with someone speaking out. All of that stuff came later, from one side or another. So just talk. Because in a lot of cases, that will do more. That will get people going. And in today's world, that will most likely be the thing that changes everything. So please, share this on social media. Share other people's thoughts and opinions. There are videos. Share your own thoughts and opinions on social media and just everywhere you can. Get this conversation going and work to make Channel Awesome and the entire internet community just so much better than we could ever have been before. Thank you so much for tuning in. I would love to hear your thoughts on this all in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie Royal, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.